Juice Wells goes on social media and clears the air, right? There's been a lot of chatter, a lot of discussion about what's going on with Juice Wells. Is he hurt? Is he getting ready for the NFL draft? Is he coming back next year? What's going on? How much of a role does NIL play in this? Well, Juice Wells said, you know what? I'm going to let everybody know. It's going to come straight from the horse's mouth what's going on. Juice Wells posting this on X, clearing the air. I'm not playing and not holding out for the NFL draft. I'll be back next year. ... Juice Wells officially announcing that he will return for the 2024 season. What's so funny, though, guys, that post gets published, and we still have questions. We still were like looking at that. Okay, does I'm not playing mean he's not playing in the game on Saturday? Does it mean like he's not playing, like he's not joking, right? What his status for Saturday is, I still think remains somewhat of a mystery. However, the bigger takeaway is the fact that Juice Wells will be returning to South Carolina next year. And what a massive boost for Gamecocks football going into year 4 of the Shane Beamer era. I think also, too, guys, a massive boost for this program going into the most important offseason of the Shane Beamer era in regards to building the roster through the transfer portal, continuing to build the program overall, right? There's going to be some serious expectations next year. Folks are going to want to see forward progression and see this program take a next step in Shane Beamer's 4th season. Great place to start with the return of wide receiver 1 guys who we're still going to be talking about next year, going into next year, as he should be one of the best wide receivers in the SEC, right? Do not forget so quickly what Juice Wells did last season, especially end of season, what he did in limited time against Georgia this year. 1 series, and you saw him make an impact. Thank goodness Xavier Legette stepped up, obviously, and filled the void, filled the absence of Juice Wells. But, I mean, this is massive news, man. You talk about South Carolina offensively. And, guys, I could argue that nobody on that roster and nobody affiliated with the Gamecocks is happier for this news than Lenoris Sellers, South Carolina quarterback. And I think the guy we all expect to be the next guy for South Carolina next season. And you start thinking about the offense and what it looks like in 2024. You can really let your imagination run wild and get really, really excited at the thought of it, right? You first think of the offensive line. I mean, that's the big thing. They've got to get solved. They've got to get shored up. They've got to get corrected. But you've got a lot of young talent that's going to be coming back. We're hearing rumors also that maybe Vershawn Lee is going to return. Jalen Nichols potentially going to return. So they're going to have some returners. You continue to build the Great Wall of Carolina. If you can get solid, just decent blocking on the offensive line, we all know how Gamecock fans feel about Lenoris Sellers, right? Like, this dude is the next greatest everything. You bring back Juice Wells now, because that was going to be a huge question mark going into next season, right? Like, who's wide receiver 1? You were bringing back Nick Harbor. You knew that he had all the talent in the world, but, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's going to finish the season, what, guys, like 15 catches, 20 catches maybe? That was going to be a huge question. Like, is he ready to be the number 1 wide receiver in this offense and carry the load and fill the shoes of the departed Xavier Legette when that happens next year? Now you got Juice Wells. Then you got a returning Nick Harbor. Then you got a Mazeo Bennett coming in as a true freshman who folks are really high on. Then you got a Tyshawn Russell who's flashed this year. Then you got a potential like a Bakari Swain, right? You've got some young guys. Then whoever you pick up in the transfer portal if you do get a wide receiver or 2. You think about what the Gamecocks have done at the tight end position. Like, it's very, very fun to think about. And, I mean, effectively, guys, we've mentioned a lot. Hey, South Carolina, they got to crush the transfer portal. This transfer portal cycle, it's so important for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks going into 2024, which, again, we all know is going to be a pivotal year. I could argue the pickup of Juice Wells, the retention of Juice Wells is probably bigger than any pickup you'll have in the portal this cycle. Like, when you think of the significance, the type of player he is, the impact he has, what he can do for your offense, you need as many big-time playmakers as you can get your hands on. And so to have Juice Wells back in 2024, I also think, guys, just for a Gamecocks fan base, as we sit here looking ahead of the rivalry game on Saturday, and certainly the result of that game is nobody's going to throw a parade either way if you win and go 6-6. But as J.C. Sherbert said, it's going to take a lot of sting out of the season if you beat Clemson, win 4 in a row to close it out and go 6-6. But win or lose on Saturday, this is a huge shot in the arm and a huge boost for a Gamecocks fan base that in this season where you sit 5-6 and not a whole lot has gone well, and 2023 had such high expectations and such high hopes, this all of a sudden gives you a lot to look forward to, even more so going into 2024. So it's an unfortunate situation that Juice Wells did not get to play this year, right? It's an unfortunate situation that he had that foot injury that lingered all season long. But what a huge boost it turns out to be for year 4 of the Shane Beamer era. And again, nobody's happier than Lenoris Sellers right now, because Lenoris Sellers, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. A lot's going to be asked of him. But now you've got your wide receiver one. That's one less thing that you got to worry about. You've got a big-time, legitimate dude that you can go downfield to, throw the football up. You feel confident he's going to come down with it. He's going to make big plays for you. A quarterback's best friend, 2 things: a great running game, but also a great wide receiver that can make them look good a time or two. And Juice Wells is that guy. Huge boost for the Gamecocks offense, the Gamecocks football team in 2024, as South Carolina will enter, no matter what happens on Saturday, will enter a pivotal year 4 of the Shane Beamer era.